Don't know if Salakia. 1 second. I think the Wi-Fi is connection is going off right now. Shalom. I don't know if y'all can see me, hear me, but Salakia, it's kind of late, so we're not gonna be on here long, you know. But THE late night edition, man. Wisdom Wednesday. We want to give all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God. Many of y'all are probably not going to see this, but it's cool because either way it go, edification will be out. So, like we said, first and foremost, always all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God, man, and we don't take none of this for granted. Most High willing, this Wi-Fi connection ain't tripping like it say it is, and y'all can see and hear me. But if not, then either way it go, man. If it's quality, then we'll upload it. But if not, then we'll delete it. But I do want to test something real quick. So like, yeah, I just want to see this real quick, like. Just trying to see if my phone is picking up everything. Because if my phone is picking it up, then it means the viewers that are watching can pick it up. Okay, so it's picking up a little bit. But through the spirit, man, we just gonna be on here a little brief. The title of this Wisdom Wednesday, man, is Ask Christ Love the Church, right? So we already know what we're getting into. Let's go to the book of, matter of fact, hold that thought real quick. Taylor. All right, so I'm trying to get this Wi-Fi connection situated so that way my thing ain't lagging. So we're not gonna be on here long. But like I said, the title is Ask Christ Love the Church. Shalom.
Shalom, Art. You gotta stop paying for that 75-cent Wi-Fi.
Man, I was trying to get this thing situated. I might have to get the dollar Wi-Fi, to be honest, but it should be straight here in a second, man. Can you see me though? Am I lagging?
Well, you kind of like
Dog, I don't know what's going on. I don't know because the weather or whatnot. But can you hear me a little bit? Can you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, it's getting better now.
Okay, let me try turning off my camera. Help some of the bandwidth probably. But
I mean, it's getting better now. It was starting to resolute.
kind. Well, let me share my. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me share my screen. So if it ain't lagging too much, then we straight. But I don't know why this thing acting like this tonight, but it's all cool, man. Through here, we just like I said, we're not gonna be on here long. I want to read something real quick. Oh, sorry, Salakia. We're going to, like I said, ask Christ love the church. So we're going to start with the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, and verse 25, right? Matter of fact, let me go start up So the reason that I'm reading this is just to do a little Wisdom Wednesday, touching on, you know what I'm saying, just like marriage a little bit in the aspect of just got a message for a lot of the men, man. I know that a lot of times you may see men getting on women and you always see the stuff be like, oh, you women tripping, and we always talking about women this, women that. But sometimes, man, we just gotta be honest as men and as husbands and just kind of like think about ourselves too. Like what is it that we have to do, you know what I'm saying, to provide for these women, right? What is it that we have to do to hold up our end of the bargain in a marriage? And I'm not saying, I'm not going to go into, you know, hey, this is what you got to do and go into the law and show. I'm just going over a couple of scriptures, like to give us a point of understanding or a point to be kind of remind ourselves, like, you know, hey, it's a two-way street, you know what I'm saying, to love. It ain't just, you know, women love us, it's us love them too, right? But this is the book of Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse number, I would say 20, verse number 20, right?
You want me to read?
You don't got to, but if you got something to bring out, you know, just ask me to pull it up and I can read it. But this is Ephesians 5 and 20, and it says, giving thanks always for all things. I'm reading it as written, for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, right? Verse 21, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God, right? Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High, right? So what is the fear of the Lord, right? The fear of the Lord is to keep his commandments in a sense. I'm not going to go into a full detailed explanation, but the fear of the Lord is to depart from evil, right? To do what the commandments of the Lord says do. That's to fear the Most High. So in a marriage, we should be submitting ourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High. My wife, yes, she is my helpmeet, and she is also, you know what I'm saying, like she is also under me in the sense of order and structure according to 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, right? But in a sense, we both are submitted one to another in the fear of the Most High, right? I can't hold myself in a higher regard in her life than I want her to hold the Most High in her life, if that makes sense what I'm saying. Like, I want my wife to love and be more sold out for the Most High than for me, because I can go off. The Most High can't. You know what I'm saying? I can go off. I can have a day where I speak in unclean speech. You know what I'm saying? I can have a day where, you know what I'm saying, I just mess up and stumble, fall into sin, mischief, all manner of things. But the Most High will never do that. So this is why it's important to understand when it talks about submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High. The fear of the Most High is what's really going to keep us in these end times. What's going to keep our marriage strong, your marriage strong. What's going to be able to sustain you in these days, in the times that we're living in. We're living in a time where women don't want nothing to do with a man. They want children, but don't want a man. I had a friend tell me the other day that she wants a baby, but she doesn't want a man to deal with. And to me, it's madness, because I seen a post on social media on Twitter, and this dude said a good example. He was like, man, girls always talking about, I don't need no baby daddy. Girl, the baby daddy is not for you, it's for the baby. The baby need the daddy. And that's true. We living in a time where it's just like it's glorified to be a single mother. Marriage isn't honorable. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to get into this topic, so like if I offend somebody for bringing it up, but it's just like, you look at the state of our world, man, men are praised for having multiple baby mamas, but in the topic of polygyny, it seems like you can't marry, you know what I'm saying, more than one person. Oh, that's wrong. But having sex with 5 different girls, you know what I'm saying, is not wrong. And getting them all pregnant is not wrong. Our women are living in a time where the world is trying to do everything. And at the same time, it's just like, as men in the truth, we take what we see in the world and we channel it with so much anger, because we know that the roles are technically supposed to be reversed. And it's just like, now we get into the truth, we get married, all of a sudden, like, we're acting more like dictators than anything, which is nothing wrong with if you're doing it in righteousness. If you're being a righteous dictator, all praise to the Most High. But it's just like sometimes we get a little overzealous in the truth, because we want our wives to be submissive unto us. You know what I'm saying? We want them to obey us because we see what's going on in the world. We see what Satan is trying to do to our women, and we don't want that coming into our household. So sometimes we get a little insensitive. Sometimes we get a little, like I said, aggressive, but we got to remember that we should be submitting one to another in the fear of the Most High together. We should definitely be submitting one to another. It shouldn't be my wife submits to me and I don't submit to her. And don't take what I'm saying as in I'm going off. Shalom, Brother Tay. Don't take as what I'm saying as in I'm going off. Take what I'm saying and think bigger than face value. You're going to submit to your wife just as much as your wife is going to submit to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's not saying that, oh, if your wife tell you I ain't cooking today, you get your behind up and you go cook. That means you say yes, master, and get in that kitchen and start cooking. Throw your little man apron on. That's not what that means. You know what I'm saying? That meaning that, hey, look, your wife is going to require things from you that you need to provide, right? Because she needs that in order for her to fulfill the role that you want her to fulfill in your life. Like if you want your wife to be a stay-at-home mom, then guess what she's going to need? She's going to need to make sure that she's going to need to be able to rely on you to make sure all the bills are paid. If you want her to cook, she needs to have everything she needs to cook. If she say, hey, I need a new frying pan, well, guess what you need to do? Go get you another frying pan. Make sure your wife is being able to have all the materials that she needs to fulfill her duty as a wife unto you. So you got to submit to her. What you going to tell her? No, I want you to cook, but I ain't going to give you no groceries to cook with. You know what I'm saying? I want you to cook, but I ain't going to give you no utensils to cook with. Hey, I want you to cook, but hey, if I got to take the trash out, I'm not going to take the trash out. I'm going to just let the trash stack up in the house. Hey, that's off. This is why it says, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High. You got something?
Yeah, I was going to make a few points too.
Go ahead.
I'm going to levy off of that. Technically, I speak as a man when I say this. Technically, when we think about Adam and Eve, it wasn't the fact that Adam listened to his wife that was the sin. It was the fact that he disobeyed the Most High. So if his wife was, because, sometimes our wives can remind us like, hey, you haven't fasted in a while. That's leading us to the Most High, right? If Eve was to lead Adam to the Most High, it wouldn't have been nothing wrong that Adam listened to his wife, right? But it was because it was in disobedience, right? But to piggyback off what the brother is saying, there's multiple types of submission, right? There's a submission for being decent and in order, and then there's a submission, like it's talking about here, submitting yourselves one to another. When you're submitting yourselves one to another, right, that's more so like a commitment. It's saying you're committed one toward another, right? Meaning, guess what? If my wife has an altercation at her work, I'm not afraid to drive up there and confront whoever is, troubling her, right? If like the brother said, if she needs something in the house to do something, to do her job or do her role, guess what? I'm submitted unto her or committed unto her to help her do that, right? If her tire goes flat, I'm submitted unto her to fix it, right? If she comes in the house and says, hey, can you fix my tire? Hey, can you do this for me? And it's more of a man's role to do it. It's more of a physical role. Guess what? I'm gonna step in there and do it because I submit myself unto her when I chose her to be my wife, right? And there's another submission which goes into the order that we see in First Corinthians. And like the brother said, he's not going off. We do recognize that type of submission as well, meaning at the end of the day, when you're making decisions for a household, we know who has that final say so. But the last thing I'm also going to say is I was watching a podcast and the Brothers in the Truth, and he pointed out something that was kind of something that we should take note of. Today, just like slavery, it's a lot of things that traumatize our community. And one of those is a strong Black woman, right? Our women aren't supposed to be as strong as they are today. They're supposed to be delicate and tender. But now, with the man being taken out of the house and they get money for that, and they get praised by all these other nations and races, and they get promoted faster than we do as men. We've built this strong woman, and it caused our men a traumatic experience and traumatized us to where we hate women. And because of our hate towards women, we treat them as a lion in the house. We treat them as if they have no rights. They don't have any say so in anything. They can't open their mouth, right? And like the brother Yeshai is saying, hey, look, we're here to say we're not Amish. We're not like these other nations that didn't take counsel from their wife in decent and in order and in a proper place and time, right? Our women are bright women. Our women are intelligent women. Our women, right, are being dealt with by the Most High as well, right? It's not just us. We see multiple women in the Bible be dealt with the Most High. And the only way you can fully get your help from your help meet is to submit under her.
Con, so
Dang, the brother went out, right? But like I was saying, the brother's Wi-Fi must be crazy. But like I was saying, man, the only way to fully get your wife to also submit unto you is if you're fully submitted under her, right? I was on Twitter earlier today, and it was a little controversy going on, and one of the women said something along the lines of, you don't have to wait for your husband to make you his wife before you start acting like a wife, which is true as well, right? But then another sister commented and she said, you can only be a wife for so long until a man doesn't get his act together, right? Because what's gonna fuel the weaker vessel is you coming to match them. If they're trying their best to be Proverbs 31, Titus 2, if they're trying their best to be a great wife, you got to try your best to be a great husband. You got to be practical. You got to deal with them according to knowledge. You have to be sensible. You have to take an account of their emotions. That's what submitting yourselves to your wife looks like. That's a commitment, right? Also, submitting yourselves one to another is to you submit yourself to your brother, your neighbor as well, right? You submit in this community, in this nation, we submit ourselves because of the fear of God, right? Just like if you were a father of many children, you want your children to get along, right? So as we submit ourselves one to another, it's in the fear of God because we want to make our Father proud, right? And we want to operate how He wants us to operate.
Kane, can you hear me?
Con, I can hear you.
Do I sound a little faded?
You don't sound faded. You just kind of sound far away. But you still clear though.
Yeah, Salakia, man. I don't know what's going on, man. I tried to do a dual live on the IG and put it on the YouTube, but I forgot I had my headset in. I tried to unplug my headset and ended up unplugging my camera. But we straight now. But I just wanted to.
I was like, dang, the brother done just disappeared, man.
Nah, Salakia.
He got up in a whirlwind.
Oh my God. Yeah, I kind of, but to piggyback off of what you were saying, I mean, we just got to think about it like this. Like, we are not, like the brother was saying, other natures of people, man. We got to get out the mindset that our women are just slaves unto us. We should be slaves together unto the Most High. We should both be striving together, like the brother said, for the kingdom. And in order for us to do that, I have to be submissive unto my wife. And, that's something that if you see a lot of brothers struggle with that thing, I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm just going to say oftentimes it could be stemming from when you in the world, you maybe didn't have as much control. And now you get into the truth, you learn a couple scriptures, and now you want to run everything. Well, you got to be a man that is sufficient enough to run everything, right? You got to be a just man, an honest man, and you got to be a righteous man. You can't be sitting up here telling your wife to be quiet. You don't got no say so. You know what I'm saying? And then everything that she's trying to tell you about, you ignoring, and then it's coming to pass that she was right. Hey, my wife been correcting me a few times. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It had been plenty of times she told me to do something. I was like, man, I got this. I'm a man. I got this. Come to pass, I come back, tucking my tail under her, trying to hug up on her. You was right. She one time she was like, look, you gonna stop telling me I'm right and keep on doing the same thing. Blew me off. But that's how it be sometimes, man. You just got to understand that when it comes to marriage, it's not a one-way street. It's not the woman pleases me and I please the Father. It's I please her, she please me, we please the Most High. And actually, we please the Most High first. That would please me more than her pleasing me, if you get what I'm saying. Right? If you can pick up what I'm putting down. Let's keep reading though. Verse 22, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, right? We say this all the time. But we say this all the time, man, that we feel like sometimes our women be going off. And the one thing we say, man, and one thing I always tell my wife, I'd be like, yeah, if it was, I always say, yeah, if it was Christ, I bet money you wouldn't be acting like this, or I bet money you wouldn't say that.
Do something, it'd be already done if it was Christ, or if it was King David, or if it was King Solomon. You know what I'm saying? I always tell my rib that when I feel like, you know what I'm saying, we at odds. Because according to Ephesians 5:22, she's supposed to submit unto me as if I'm Christ, as if I'm a king of old. Like, it shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, our women look at us and think of us different than the men of old, right? The same way women were back then is the same way, you know what I'm saying, we would like for our women to operate now, right? Submissive, you know, a Proverbs 31 woman, you know, a keeper at the house, calm, nurtured, you know what I'm saying? Just everything about a woman that embodied back then is what we want now, right? And we got to understand that according to Ephesians 5:22, my wife should not look at me any different than if she was to see the Son of Man coming out the sky. It shouldn't be like when she sees me walking through the door, it should almost be as if, I'm not saying I'm Christ, but what I'm saying is it should be as if, you know what I'm saying, her Lord is here. She should be happy. She should be pleased. She should want to roll out the red carpet for me. Now, don't take that verbatim as saying my wife is just supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, like this, like I said, this slave unto me. But what I'm saying is I'm her Lord. I'm her leader. You know what I'm saying? I'm her protector and her provider in the physical, right? We know the Father does all things. He takes care of both of us. But that's how it should be. We shouldn't have a situation where we going back and forth about, you know, you not him, or, you know what I'm saying, and you want to be him, but you ain't him. Like, we got to get out of that mindset. Because as a woman, you know, it's an honorable thing to have a man to do all the things of a wife for. Like we said, as well as we can look in the world and say the world is trying to get our women to do this, that, and the third, you can also apply it to the truth, man. You can say that, look, man, even in the truth, our women still have a lot of worldly things that they have to still yet shake off. It's the same thing for men, right? A lot of men have a lot of worldly things that we have to shake off. Why? Because we've all been conditioned to this one way of living, and then we learn scriptures, we come to the knowledge, and then now we got demons trying to claw us back to pull us back in that same mindset. It's not easy, you know what I'm saying? I don't sit up here and get mad because my wife didn't rub my feet today. I don't get mad because of that. But what I was always tell my wife is that, look, man, the biggest thing I'm big on is just like, treat me as if, you know what I'm saying, I'm your Lord. Treat me as if I'm a king of old. Treat me with the same respect I treat you with. You know what I'm saying? If my wife says something out of line or in a different type of tone than I'm speaking in, I always say, why you doing that? I always ask her, like, why are you doing that? You don't got to do that. And the same, she does the same thing to me. If she feel like I'm talking in a different tone or I'm getting loud, she always be like, well, why are you doing that? You know what I'm saying? We gotta check each other. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, I wanted to make emphasis too on that verse where it says, "Unto your own husbands," because, like the brother said, even in the truth, man, we have some things we got to work on. A lot of times in the truth, a lot of women submit unto other women's husbands. Well, I like the way he runs his house. Well, he is my elder. Well, he does have rank in the congregation, in the church, in the body, right? But this says, submit yourselves unto your own husband. Stop comparing your husband to other men and just submit unto him, right? See what pleases him. Take some time to understand his mind and how he thinks about things, right? Instead of trying to get in the mind of another man or another woman's husband. Submit yourselves unto your own husband, right? And that's something that I see a lot of us, even in the truth, struggle with, because we let like fame and notoriety and popularity get the best of our judgment. But Khan.
No, that's a mighty point, though. You know, you shouldn't, as a sister, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be looking at another man and thinking like, dang, my husband need to be like him. You know, that's madness. If anybody you want to compare to, man, hey, look, if you want to compare your husband to anybody, right? Let me take an alternative turn real quick. You want to compare your husband to anybody? If you say you want your man to be a certain type of way, like a certain type of man, then you need to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, or which is also known as Sirach, and you need to go to chapter 44, right? And what does it say? It says, let us now praise famous men, right? These are the men you should desire your husband to be like, the prophets, right? The famous men that the Lord is referencing here in the book of Ecclesiasticus. Why? Because these are the men that the Most High regarded with high regard. You shouldn't be looking at, you know what I'm saying, your camp leader, and just because he knows a bunch of precepts off the top of his head, and your husband is having a hard time quoting, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, you shouldn't look at your husband now like he ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Your husband might not be the man who's witty with his words. He might not be the man who's good with breakdowns. He might not be the man that's good with prophecy. He might not be the man that's good with precepts. He might not be the man that's chewing the meat yet. He might still be on the milk. But either way go, that's your man. So like it goes back to Ephesians chapter 5 when it says, hey, look, wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. You should take that with high regard and say, hey, even though he's not there yet, he will be there. And that's my man, so I'm submitting unto him. Right? We got to, like we said, that goes back to breaking the law of coveting in the book of Exodus chapter 20. We shouldn't be coveting one another. You know what I'm saying? I always quote that. J. Cole, I always say this. J. Cole, love yours. I don't, you know what I'm saying? There's lyrics in there that some people may disagree with, but the message is still the same. You will never be happy until you love yours. And until, as a woman and as a man, you can look at your wife or you can look at your husband and be satisfied, you ain't never going to be satisfied, right? You're just going to be hungry. You're just going to be hungry and your belly going to be full off of lust, lusting after other women, women lusting after other men. Hey, don't find yourself in sin because you're likening your man unto somebody in the world, you know, in the flesh, right? Be a modest, be an honest man, be an honest woman, you know what I'm saying? Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, right? Verse 23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body, right? Hey, look, the husband is head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. Hey, when you need something done, like the brother was saying earlier, who you gonna go to if you need your oil change? If your husband know how to change it, you're gonna go to your husband. You know what I'm saying? If you need the couch moved, if you don't slide it across the floor yourself and you need to be picked up and carried, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna ask your husband to do it. All the physical things you're gonna need your husband to do. Just like as the savior of the body, in a physical sense. Somebody breaking the house at night, guess who got to get up? Your husband. He's gonna be the first one to get up, even though he may. And the thing is, men have a sense of trying not to be, you know, saying fearful. We got to be strong for our women, but sometimes your husband has to pay the ultimate sacrifice of potentially having to lay down his life for you. That's ultimate submission.
Man. You know, like the brother said, man, he brought it out so beautifully. You know, those are all things that men experience, right? Even in early marriage. We recently moved, and I remember one night we heard some footsteps down the hallway, and it woke both of me and my wife up. And you know, and like I told the brothers, just like she get chills down her spine and wonder what it is, I get chills down my spine too. But as a man, you just gotta pull back the covers, get out the bed and go into the hallway, right? Like this verse says, gave himself for the church, man. You got to give yourself for your wife and sometimes for your family. And that's part of a man's duty. And that's called love. That's how you love your wife and your family, right? Also, like the brother said, it's time to get an oil change. She doesn't know where to go. You got to guide her, right? It's time to plug a tire. You got to get it done. It's time to get a new tire. You got to get it done. You might want to spend that money on something else, but this is how you love your wife. Also, we bought an entertainment system, right? If I expect or if I want my wife to clean and cook right? I gotta take upon me the things of a man, like, oh, I gotta build this entertainment system from scratch. Even though I don't want to do it, I'm gonna get it done while she's out, so it's done before the time she get home. She just think I'm Superman, right? Or this TV need to be mounted. I'm not gonna call nobody. I'm gonna do it myself. Oh, this chair, this kitchen table needs to be put together from scratch because I got it from Wayfair. Well, let me get to it. Let me get my tools, right? And so, like the brother was saying, so all this is part of loving your wife, right? They're commanded to submit unto us. We're commanded to love them. And submission and love look a lot like the same thing.
Right. Verse 24, and I'm going to elaborate a little too. Verse 24, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Right? Like the brother was saying, hey man, look, we gotta make sure our wives are submissive unto us in that same manner, as the church is submissive unto Christ, man. Right? And like the brother was saying, he touched on verse 25. He said, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Christ gave himself for the church, right? So we have to love our women like Christ laid down his life. Like I said earlier, when somebody not come in the house, breaking and entering, guess who gotta get up? Hey, things can go south quick. It can happen in the blink of an eye. But guess who got to take that fall? You. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully it stops at you. Say, if most high forbid, but if somebody come in your house and you end up getting laid down, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, if it takes your life, you won't know it. But if it does take your life, hopefully the intruder is not going back and looking for your family. Hopefully it stops at you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of things you got to live with as a man. It's not just easy as, oh, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go save the day. You know what I'm saying? And we put on our capes because we love our family. We love our women. And in the truth, sometimes, hold on, Salaki, real quick. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, Salaki, too. I don't think I finished that story either.
Go ahead, finish.
Footsteps down the hallway ended up being our dog. All right, it wasn't really somebody down the hallway. It was our dog. But like I said, man, I had to get up out of the bed and find out. You know, luckily asleep with a shotgun, but you know what I'm saying? It's still, you know, make your heart drop when you think somebody's in your house, man.
Con.
Hey,
the other dog was 6'5" though, so he got a valid reason for it. You know what I'm saying? For feeling the way he felt.
It's about a good 80 pounds.
Con though, for real. I'm saying though, like it's important to know that, man. We gotta remember that, hey, even as Christ loved the church, man, we gotta love our wives just as much, because for the men, at the same time, man, we gotta stop being manipulators in the truth. We gotta stop finding scriptures to fit our viewpoints, and just so that way we can win an argument. You know, we gotta stop finding scriptures just to make our women do something when they don't want to do it. You know, at the end of the day, like we said, verse 21, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God, right? This is how it should be. You should submit yourself one to another. It shouldn't be your wife submits to you and you just forget everything that she says. Hey, your wife is like I don't even want to say it myself. We can go to the same book in Sirach, chapter 26, verse, I want to say 26 and 13. Let me see. I want to see, maybe it's 3. Maybe it's Sirach chapter 26 and verse 3. Right, let me start at 2, right? Let me start at 1, actually. It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. Hey, look, man, having a great woman will add on to your days, man. You don't understand that as a man, you will get the best out of women if you're giving your women the best. You can't expect the best out of your wife and you doing the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Some brothers in the truth just want women just to sleep with, and that's it. I don't need nothing else.
You need to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus.
Salakia, am I lagging?
Nah, Salakia, I had just put up the live on Instagram.
Oh yeah, Salakia. But yeah, I'm saying, like, if you got to understand, like, you can't do the bare minimum as a man and want the most out of your woman. It doesn't work like that, man. It doesn't work like that in anything that you invest in, right? So let me clean out my camera on the IG. But if you invest in stocks, You can't put 1 penny in there and expect $100 million in return in that stock. Because first of all, you got to pay attention to that stock. You know what I'm saying? What's the line of resistance? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, you got to understand, hey, a lot of things that you're putting in, you can't expect to get a huge return if you're putting in bare minimum. So as a man, you can't put in the bare minimum and expect the most out of your wife. It just won't happen, right? It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled, right? Verse 2, a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. You're going to fulfill the years of your life in peace because you have a virtuous woman. But guess what? That doesn't mean that means make your wife's life a living hell. Nowhere in the scripture does it say that. Nowhere in the scripture does it say, hey, look, I can slap my wife and she got to be quiet and do as I say because I'm the dictator. I run things, right? This is not an autocracy, man. This is a democracy. We both submitting unto the Most High. We got to love our women as Christ loved the church. It's just that plain and simple. You can't make it no plainer than that, right? What does it say right here? Verse 3, a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord, right? A good wife is a good portion. So if you feel like your wife is going off, then maybe you need to check your spirit, right? Maybe you're not fearing the Lord. Maybe your wife has an attitude problem. Well, you need to check your attitude. What type of attitude are you having towards fasting? What type of attitude are you having towards reading? What type of attitude are you having towards praying and studying the scriptures? Maybe it's because you don't have a spirit of peace on you. Maybe it's because you don't have your attitude in check, which is why the spirit hops on your wife. These are things, and as I talk to y'all, I'm gonna talk to myself, because these are things that I tell myself often when I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, marriage ain't perfect, and I'm authentic with y'all for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I'm authentic. I don't have nothing to hide. When it comes to me and my wife, I let y'all know the truth, man. Me and my wife be at odds from time to time. And it don't be about nothing major, you know what I'm saying? It be about simple stuff, right? That's how marriage operates. Sometimes you and your wife may disagree on some things, simple things, right? But at the end of the day, man, when we get into those moments and I start feeling like I want to say something to her, sometimes I think about myself like, dang, well, maybe if I would just have a better attitude about fasting or have a better attitude about reading, you know what I'm saying? Maybe if I just had a better attitude about waking up in the morning and praying, maybe my wife will have a better attitude about some of the things I say unto her. Maybe if I did something that she asked me to do when she asked me to do it, not as she's my mother, but as she needs it done then, because that's how she would fulfill her role that I require for her to fulfill. Maybe if I had a better attitude about doing that, then, you know what I'm saying, we could eliminate a lot of attitude. But go ahead, you was going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to piggyback and say, you know, a marriage, when it says one flesh, man, you're of one mind, one understanding, one type of spirit, right? So really you're supposed to mirror each other, which you will find out that you guys will marry each other for better or for worse, right? Hopefully for better most of the time. And I mean that by saying this. Before you get married, men, before you get married, make sure that you are an acceptable man of the Most High God, right? Make sure that you're doing your part, because best believe women are watching. Single women out there, they're watching. They want husbands, but they're watching your move. They're watching how you interact on your social media. They're watching how you take care of business, whether it be if you have a job or not, right? And the one thing I will say is when you finally get married, they are going to live up to your standards. They're going to live up to what they think you live up to. So if your wife thinks that you're a virtuous man, a fervent man on fire for the Most High, and that you take it serious, guess what? She's going to try to mirror that, and she's going to try to be a virtuous woman to match you. No woman wants to be far away from her husband. She's going to try to match you, and she's going to try to match your fire. But that only will happen if you actually have a fire, right? If you actually have a relationship with the Most High, you're actually in your word. She's not going to want to read if she sees that you don't read, right? She's not going to want to fast if she sees that you're not serious about fasting. She's not going to want to have a serious prayer life if you don't ever ask her to pray, right? I pray a lot of the times, even over our food or whatever, but Every now and then I'll be like, hey, you got it. Say a prayer for us, right? And that's making sure that you guys are equal. Y'all are equally yoked, right? But I say all that to say this. It's a big mirror. It's a mirror game, right? As she sees you on your day-to-day and how you upkeep yourself and how you desire the Most High, she's going to do the same thing because she wants to be seen from the public eye as somebody as an equal match. Nobody wants to be like, why is he with her? Why did she fall for him? Everybody wants to be equal with their partner. And so if you want your wife to have a good portion, you got to have a good portion too. And that's what this verse is saying.
Tom, and I live, you know, dropped a profound scripture in one of our favorites, so 25:1. And three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful before God and men: unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and man and wife that agree together, man. It's my favorites, right? Hey, there ain't nothing more better, more beautiful than a man and a wife that can just agree together, like in spirit and in truth. You know, you gotta be able to have that right, because that goes to the discussion of this. This is chapter 2 and verse 24, man. That goes back to the classic, right? This is what it says. It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Right? So in look, verse 25, it says, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. You gotta be equally yoked in this thing, right? Like Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together lest they be agreed? You know, and that's not talking about, oh, you want your eggs scrambled and she wants hers over easy. Now all of a sudden y'all got a divorce because y'all not equally yoked. That doesn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to, you know what I'm saying, find any reason to find iniquity within your woman, man. But that just goes to show that according to Ephesians 2, we supposed to be one flesh, right? Just the same thing as Psalm 25, man. And the thing when you read Ephesians 5, ultimately it goes back down to understanding that this is what you have to do. You have to love your woman, right? As Christ loved the church. Everything that Christ is doing for the church is what you should be doing for your wife. You feel like you're going off correctly, you know what I'm saying? And be afraid to listen to the opinions of your wife. Christ ignored everybody and just talking, kept moving. He heard people, he corrected people, and he gave them an opportunity to speak. The same thing should go on in your household. If you're a man and you feel like, you know, so I'm not having a peace in the house, first of all, I feel like both of y'all should fast and pray together. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should fast and pray together. And then secondly, man, you got to be able to be heard. But you got to be the type of brother, the type of sister that is an active person. And acting just means when someone's talking to you, you're not just letting them get it out. You're hearing what they're saying, you're analyzing it, and you're not building for a response. You're building it up to interpret it. Okay, well, how do you apply to the situation in which you're doing this for you? It's not for your conversation's sake, right? So you got to be an active listener in this truth, especially when it comes to your spouse, because at the end of the day, we got to be submitted to one another, you know, in the fear of the Most High, right? Ephesians 5:1. Right? But we're not gonna go too deep, man. It's just a little touch on understanding husband and wife, just a little Wisdom Wednesday. If you want, like, if there's plenty of marriage classes out here, man. Sons of Thunder did one. I want to say the brothers from the Anointed House of Sin did one. W5, Watching for Israel, has done one. There's a lot of organizations out here that do these videos on marriage. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like, you know what I'm saying, you having problems, of course, the first thing you should always go to, I'm not telling you to go watch a video. The first thing you go to is the word. You need to get on your knees, fast and pray. You need to, you know what I'm saying, reach out to the Father, man, and fast that spirit away from y'all. You need to get in the word, precepts about how to treat one another. Like, go to Ephesians 5, go look at marriages, you know what I'm saying? You also got to do this thing too. If you feel like you need further understanding, if you need other perspectives, then that's when the video kicks in. You can go watch your camp videos. You can go watch videos from brothers who may not be in camps, but are still putting the truth out there and talking about marriage. Go find people who've been in certain situations similar. You know what I'm saying? And it's not saying that you need to let everybody know what you got going on, but just there are people out here who speak on these things, right? But like I said, a lot of times we get on women, right? But sometimes brothers, we got to check ourselves at the door. You know what I'm saying? We got to check ourselves. At the end of the day, ain't our spots guaranteed. You can go to Ecclesiastes and read, you know what I'm saying? And out of 1,000 women, he's seen one, and out of 1,000 men, he only seen one, 10, however many. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you're going to be in that number. You know, and none of our spots secured in the kingdom. We all striving to get there. And it starts with, if you're in a relationship with somebody, a commitment, a covenant with a man and wife, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, you got to understand that it starts at home. You got to start being lovers of one another, right? But like I said, hey, Ephesians 5 is a good read. Not go too long. It's getting late, so one of your brothers and sisters an opportunity to get some rest before you got to go to work in the morning, or if you're at work, give you an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to just kind of like meditate on what you just read and heard. But most high willing, you were edified. I'm gonna hold my peace. If Brother Azrael, do you have anything else?
Khan, just leveling off of what you said as a closing remark. You know, it says you gotta love husbands. It says you gotta love your wife like Christ loved the church, man. That's deep. Because if you don't read, you know what I'm saying? First of all, if you don't read, you don't know how Christ loved the church. You don't know how he let the apostles, you know, lay their head on his chest. It's okay to cuddle up with your wife, show her some emotion. You don't know how Christ washed the disciples' feet. It's okay to pamper your wife, man. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to deal with her according to knowledge. It's okay to be patient with your wife, right? All over and over and over again, he had to keep telling the disciples, "Oh, ye of little faith. Did I not show you already? Have I not already answered you this? Have I not already taught you this? Have you not learned anything?" Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you're gonna run into arguments that you have with your wife that make you just want to spaz out. But look, be patient with them like Christ was patient with his disciples, and teach. You got to always be apt to teach. Deal with your wife in knowledge, submit unto her, and she'll submit unto you, right? Not talking about bow down to her, but commit yourself to your wife, man. Make it a duty, a job to committing yourself to your wife. But Con, that's all I gotta say.
Con, hey, look, words, man. Hey, just brothers, remember, examine yourself. We are, yes, it's on us. We are the leaders, right? According to 1 Corinthians 11:3, man. We are the leaders. But remember, we have to submit ourselves to one another in the fear of the Most High, because he's over everybody. Most High is over Christ. The Most High is, the Christ is over men are over the women, and children and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So we got to remember that. Don't be, you know what I'm saying, a one-sided ruler, man. Be submissive unto your wife, and guys, be submissive unto your husband, right? And if you need understanding on that, like we said, just go back to the beginning of this video, right? And understand that what we're saying is, it's not just you and her doing the work and you ain't doing nothing. It's both of y'all putting y'all hands to the plow, right? But I'm Brother Yeshaya, man.
Brother Azrael.
We're gonna sign off this thing, man. We're gonna be back on here for Think About It Thursday, led by the Brother Azrael. So y'all stay tuned. But hey, I love y'all, man. Shout out to the people, the brother on the IG who tuned in, the family on the IG who tuned in. Hey, shalom to y'all, bro. We love y'all. We signing off. We say shalom.
Shalom.